All right, Nick, thanks. 19 from 4, ESPN 1530. Joe Reedy, Cincinnati Enquirer. Check out his Bengals blog, Cincinnati.com. You should also follow him on Twitter, twitter.com/Joe Reedy. Busy day for him. Joins us now to talk Antonio Bryant. Joe, what's going on?
Nothing much. Nothing like starting out at UC in the morning and then rage with the Dan Coates signing from the populace, and now utter joy with Antonio Bryant.
All right, let's start with the most recent stuff then. Antonio Bryant, I know you've kind of done a tail of the tape and you've handicapped the race for free agent wide receiver. Surprised, not surprised? Give me your initial take.
Initially, considering a couple hours ago, I was hearing that Miami might be back in the race, and usually when you hear a second team, yesterday it was Washington, I would think that it was kind of surprising now in the last hour. It's like, okay, here he is, especially right after Terrell Owens left. I mean, I had been hearing some stuff that the visit was mainly because Chad and Drew Rosenhaus had been campaigning aggressively to get him here an interview, which now with all the steps and everything, it kind of looks like that was the case.
All right. Does it shut the door entirely on T.O.?
I don't think it shuts the door entirely, but I think now the ball is in the Bengals' court if there are no other suitors. A guy from Buffalo said, don't be surprised now if the Dolphins enter the bidding, because the Dolphins do need a receiver. And being as though Rosenhaus is down in Miami, and Miami likes having star power, T.O. could go there. But if there's no other teams interested, and depending on the money he wants, the Bengals could somehow enter into the conversations for a guy for 1 year. It's not entirely out of the realm of possibility.
With everybody that's been talked about, whether it be Antonio Bryant, Terrell Owens, or even Brandon Marshall being kicked around, there's pros and cons to all three. Do the pros outweigh the cons with Antonio Bryant?
I think in this case, Mo, the pros do outweigh the cons because this was a top unrestricted free agent out there. He is dependable. He is proven. He's also got something to work for, too, because he's going to come in here as the number 2 receiver. But, Chad does enter an option year next year, and he's going to be entering his 10th season. This could be an audition for him with a 4-year deal that 2 or 3 years into this thing, he could eventually become the number 1 receiver, depending on what they want to do with Chad down the road, or, with receivers, you never know what's going to happen. To me, 4 years, $28 million, it's almost the same deal Lavernius Coles got last year, but this guy's got 4 years less tread on the tires and got a lot more in the tank to me than what Lavernius had.
Not that many seem to be worried about the knee issue that kept him out of 3 games last season. Should it be something we should be overly concerned about?
No, because it was one of those things last year that it was almost compounded upon everything in training camp where he had the knee, got it scoped, came back, suffered a knee bruise, just wasn't right the entire season, which if a player gets injured early, probably odds are the rest of the year he's not going to be right, especially if he tries to rush back. I think the numbers he had, when you look at the numbers Owens had too, the numbers both of them put up were pretty good considering both had 3 different quarterbacks thrown to him last year, which weren't exactly all-pro signal callers, to say the least.
Yeah, another minute or so. Joe Reedy, Cincinnati Enquirer, Bengals blog at Cincinnati.com. Okay, draft strategy. Does it diminish the likelihood that they go for wideout in round 1?
I think it diminishes it. I was thinking all along, though, with the receivers out there, unless Des Bryant all of a sudden drops to 21, I think a receiver other than another Bryant becomes a stretch. Round 2 or 3, though, definitely with the talent there could be a receiver. Marty Gilliard could be available in round 2, and the draft Marty movement is in high gear, which Marty said today. It was the first time he heard about the website, and it psychs him up even more. Mike Shepard was running the receiver drills here during the UC Pro Day. They continue to have a good, constructive dialogue, and if Marty's available in round 2, or even we know how drafts work. Sure. If somehow he slips into round 3, he would be a good pickup too. But this does not solve their problems at receiver. It goes a long way toward helping to solve the receiver problems, but they still need another guy or possibly 2 before you can feel somewhat secure going into OTAs and the regular season and everything.
Carson has been asked about both guys, and he hasn't shot down either. Did you get the idea that he was more enthusiastic about Bryant as opposed to T.O. or vice versa or anything like that?
I think with Carson, it's truly one of those situations that whatever helps get them to a situation where they can win, he's all for it. I mean, just the fact that last year this team was made into a more run-based offense. He never complained or griped. I mean, the only time he really complained last year was when the fans were booing during those December home games. So on-field stuff, whatever helps to win the game, he's all for. But, Bryant, you look at everything, I think right now it's a pretty good move, and now we see over the next couple of weeks with free agency, Bobby Williams becomes a concern about re-signing. It sounds like right now they're still pretty apart on things, despite what the guy 40 miles up north in Dayton wrote. They're farther apart than what it was portrayed. They re-signed Dan Coates today. I still think they got to get Reggie Kelly in here for another year, and and Roy Williams at safety. So right now, you got the receiver problem. Now re-sign a couple of their guys, and let's get moving on from other stuff.
Joe, you're the man. I know you got a ton going on today. Thanks very much for the time.